Okay, so without anything further, let's get into it. Our MC today doesn't really need an introduction. We all know her, we all love her, but I'm going to do the honours anyway. Fran is a Walkley winning journalist, TV presenter and social commentator. She is the co-host of ABC's Question Everything, returning later in 2024, thank goodness, and is well known for her work on Channel 10's The Project, SBS's The Feed, and as a former host of Listener's flagship news podcast, The Briefing. Jan is the creator, writer and presenter of the online opinion segment, The Fran, which has been viewed more than 25 million times on social media and earned Jan a very well-deserved 2019 Walkley Award for Best Commentary, Analysis, Opinion and Critique. Please welcome Fran.
Thank you everyone. See how I dress to work? Very demure, very mindful. It's so lovely to be here with all of you today. I really want to thank Angela and Tala for having me be the MC for today's summit. It really was a no-brainer for me. I love women's agenda. I'm a big fan. You guys have been very, very supportive in the past. And also, this is a topic that's just very close to my heart. I think we saw the stats that you put up there, Angela. Every one of us could probably see ourselves in one of those stats in some ways. And I don't know who else was triggered by the gentleman sitting in the ice bath. But I was very triggered because my husband has an ice bath. And it did not cost $4,500. It cost $750 because it is a chest freezer. So most mornings I wake up and I see a semi-nude 6'5" man crammed into a chest freezer full of water. But I support him. I support him in his quest for longevity. He also does listen to certain podcasts, which I do think today might be an opportunity for me to introduce my new product, which is the Joe Rogan Wives and Girlfriends Limited Edition Foghorn, where if you see your partner listening to Joe Rogan, you get to stand next to them with a foghorn and toot it anytime something untoward or weird or slightly off is said. You know, just to put it in a bit of context. You're on board, Jed. You like it? Okay. You're going to be my first customer. I just wanted to share a story with you just in regards to something that I've been thinking about recently when it comes to women's health and in particular women's pain. And this was one of the reasons why I was actually eager to be here because I just want to be at the conference. It's a story about when I had my son. I've got a 2-year-old. And on the day that he was born, on the night that he was born, I was woken up at precisely 12:32 a.m. and I felt something pop. And I was asleep and I got up out of bed and I stood up and my water broke. And normally the midwives say to you, oh, you know, it's not going to be like in the movies. You're not going to stand up and water is going to gush everywhere. It was exactly like in the movies. But the point is, I started to feel, quite a bit of pain. And I called the midwife and she said, oh yes, you're in pre-labor, that's all good, see how you go. Maybe we might have you in here for an examination. And I said, okay. And the pain was sort of, continuing and continuing. And I went into the hospital. She said, come in, we're a bit quiet, we're gonna do an examination. And they did, and they sent me home. And I said to the midwife as I was leaving, this was just a few hours in, I said, I'm feeling like there's quite a bit of pain. And she said, that's okay. Your water's just broken. You're in pre-labor. That's what it feels like. It feels painful. She said, do you feel like things are contracting? And I went, yeah. And she said, that's okay. That's pre-labor. So we're going to send you home. And so I got sent home. And at home, I felt like this pain was becoming increasingly unbearable. And in my mind, I thought, oh my God, I'm only 4 hours in. I don't know how long this is going to last. I don't know how this cookie is going to crumble. I don't know. I couldn't understand what level of pain it was. And I kept telling myself, it wasn't that much pain. It wasn't that much pain. It wasn't that much pain. And it got to a point where I just couldn't do it on my own at home anymore. So I said to my husband, we have to go back to the hospital. We have to go back now. And we got in the car and we drove to the hospital. And they tell you, you're not going to be driving in the car to the hospital like with holding on like this and trying to like beep everyone out of the way. That's exactly what happened. And I'm so glad that I made that call to go to the hospital because I had a baby 33 minutes later. And I thought to myself, and I thought about this a lot in the weeks and months after I had my son. I just thought, why did I not listen to myself earlier? What was it about it that made me keep putting this off and putting this off and putting this off? And I think a lot of it is expectation around pain, that women are supposed to endure pain, that women are supposed to accept pain, that women are supposed to manage pain. And I come from, my heritage is Lebanese. And I have a grandmother who went through a civil war with untold tragedy, who had 5 children, a great-grandmother who had 11. And so you think to yourself, this is the line of women that I come from, I should be able to endure. And even though I'm somebody that knows all of this stuff and knows all about pain and knows about some of the messaging that women get, it was still something that I internalized, that in that moment, I didn't even actually think about it when I made those decisions until I did. And I'm so, so glad that I did. And this is just one story of many hundreds, if not thousands, of women who have similar stories just around pain. And we saw from Angela's slides, pain is just one aspect of women's health. There are just so many more that we don't even consider to be women's health at all. So I'm so glad that we're all in this room today to be able to talk about that. And I'm so glad that you're all here as well. So thank you very, very much for coming. We have an amazing lineup of speakers for you this morning and well into the afternoon. We're going to be talking about a range of issues. It's no surprise. Pregnancy, endometriosis, fertility, sleep, ice baths. There's a session on that coming up later. And we know that there's so many gains that have been made, but there is still so much work that needs to be done. We are going to be covering heavy-hitting topics, so if at any point you feel like you need to take some time out, please do so. There is a quiet room that you are able to access at any time. And just know, as I'm sure all of you do, it probably goes without saying that this is a very supportive space. This is a space where we want everybody to feel safe and for everybody to connect and rely on each other if that's what you need to do. But do check in with yourself throughout the day. It's all good however you want to proceed. There is also a 1-800-RESPECT table that is set up. It's got a QR code if you need to connect with a service outside of one provided in this room. Please also feel free to do that. And there will be some short wellness exercises that will be run by not Fitfluencer, but that we are running short wellness exercises throughout the day as well by a facilitator. They are wholly optional. You can decide to do them or not. I think that's it for our housekeeping. And I'm not going to take up too much more of your time because we've got a wonderful keynoter here to open our conference today.